The snow fell in thick, silent flakes outside the frost-covered window of the attic, where I sat on an old wooden stool, my knees creaking louder than the floorboards beneath me. At 72, I'd grown used to the aches of age, but the ache in my heart was new, sharp, and unrelenting. My name is Thomas Whitaker, and this Christmas Eve, I found myself banished to the attic of my own Hamimi daughter Clara's home now. I suppose. The house I'd built with my late wife, Margaret, brick by brick, memory by memory, was no longer mine. Not in the way it used to be. It wasn't always like this. Clara had been my pride, my joy, the girl who'd once run to me with scraped knees and wide, trusting eyes. But time, as it does, had carved deep lines between us. She was 40 now, married to a man named Richard who measured love in dollars and status. Their 2 children, my grandchildren, barely knew me beyond the occasional pat on the head. Clara had changed, hardened by years of chasing a life I'd never understood, one of sleek cars, glittering parties, and a coldness that seemed to grow with every promotion she earned. This Christmas, I'd hoped for something different. I'd imagined a warm evening by the fireplace, the smell of pine and cinnamon filling the air, laughter shared over Margaret's old recipe for gingerbread. Instead, I was here, in the attic, surrounded by cobwebs and forgotten things. Clara's words still stung, sharp as the winter wind. Dad, you're in the way. The guests are coming, and we need the space. You'll be fine up there for a few hours. In the way. Those words echoed in my mind as I rubbed my hands together, trying to coax warmth into my stiff fingers. The attic was freezing, the single bulb overhead casting a weak, flickering light. I shifted on the stool, my eyes falling on a cardboard box labeled Margaret's Keepsakes. My heart clenched. Margaret had been gone for 10 years, but her absence still felt like a fresh wound. I reached for the box, my fingers brushing against the yellowed tape, when something else caught my eye, a crumpled piece of paper tucked beneath a stack of old books. I pulled it out, my hands trembling not from the cold, but from recognition. It was the lottery ticket, the one I'd bought on a whim 6 months ago at the gas station, when the cashier had grinned and said, "Good luck, old-timer." I'd forgotten about it, tucked it away with no expectation. But 3 months ago, I checked the numbers. I still remember the moment, the way my breath caught, the way the world seemed to tilt as I realized I'd won. $50 million. I hadn't told a soul. Not Clara. Not Richard. Not even my old friend George, who still met me for coffee every Sunday at the diner. I kept it secret, unsure of what to do with such a fortune at my age. Margaret would have known. She'd have had to plan something generous, something kind. But me, I was just an old man, sitting on a secret bigger than the house I was now exiled in. The attic door creaked open, and I quickly stuffed the ticket into my pocket. Clara's voice floated up, clipped and impatient. "Dad, are you okay up there? The guests are arriving soon, so just stay quiet, okay?" I swallowed the lump in my throat. "I'm fine, Clara." My voice sounded smaller than I meant it to. The door clicked shut, and I was alone again. I leaned back against the wall, the ticket burning a hole in my pocket. I thought of the years I'd spent raising Clara alone after Margaret's cancer took her. The sleepless nights, the second jobs, the way I'd scraped together every penny to give her a good life. And now, here I was, hidden away like an embarrassment. But the ticket changed everything. It wasn't just money, it was power. A chance to rewrite the story. I closed my eyes, letting the memories wash over me. Clara's laughter as a child, her tiny hand in mine as we walked to the park. The way she'd cried at Margaret's funeral, clinging to me like I was her anchor. Where had that girl gone? And could I bring her back? The sound of laughter drifted up from downstairs. The clink of glasses and the hum of conversation. Clara's guests had arrived, her colleagues, her friends, people who lived in a world I'd never fit into. I pictured her smiling, radiant in her perfect dress, while I sat here, invisible. But I wasn't invisible. Not anymore. I stood, my joints protesting, and moved to the small attic window. The snow was heavier now, blanketing the world in silence. I pressed my hand against the glass, feeling the cold bite into my palm. The lottery ticket felt heavier than ever in my pocket. I didn't know what I'd do with it, not yet. But I knew one thing. I wasn't going to stay in this attic forever. The night was young, and so was my resolve. Clara didn't know about the ticket, but she would. And when she did, everything would change. The attic grew colder as the night deepened, the single bulb flickering like it was as tired as I was. I sat back on the stool, the lottery ticket still tucked in my pocket, its weight both a comfort and a burden. Downstairs, the party was in full swing, muffled voices, bursts of laughter, the occasional clatter of dishes. I could picture Clara gliding through the crowd, her smile polished and perfect, while Richard probably stood by the bar, charming someone with his practiced anecdotes. My grandchildren, Emma and Liam, were likely tucked away in their rooms, lost in their screens. And here I was, Thomas Whitaker, the forgotten man in the attic, holding a secret that could upend it all. I pulled the ticket out again, smoothing it between my fingers. The numbers were still there, as real as the day I'd checked them: 7, 14, 23, 28, 41, 56, $50 million. It was a number too big to grasp, like trying to hold the ocean in your hands. I'd spent weeks wrestling with what to give it to charity, set up trusts for Emma and Liam, maybe even disappear to some quiet seaside town where no one knew my name. But every time I thought of telling Clara, something stopped me. Her coldness, her dismissal, the way she'd looked at me tonight as if I were a burden. I tucked the ticket back into my pocket and stood, pacing the cramped attic. My eyes fell on Margaret's keepsake box again. I couldn't resist. I knelt, ignoring the protest in my knees, and peeled back the tape. Inside were fragments of our life together, her favorite scarf, soft and faded, a stack of letters we'd written during our courtship, a photo of Clara as a baby, her tiny fist curled around Margaret's finger. My chest tightened. Margaret had always believed in Clara, even when I doubted. She's got a good heart, Tom, she'd say. She just needs time to find it again. I wasn't so sure anymore. Clara had been distant for years, but this Christmas felt like a breaking point. Forcing me into the attic wasn't just about Spacey, it was a message. I wasn't part of her world anymore. But the ticket could change that. Not to buy her love, that was a fool's errand, but to show her I wasn't invisible. To remind her who I was. A sudden noise jolted me from my thoughts, a soft thud from the corner of the attic. I froze, my heart thudding. "Who's there?" I called, my voice hoarse. No answer. Probably just a mouse, I told myself. But the hairs on my neck stood up. I grabbed a flashlight from the box and swept the beam across the room, illuminating stacks of forgotten furniture and dusty trunks. Nothing. Then I heard it again, a faint rustle. Closer this time. My grip tightened on the flashlight. "Clara, is that you?" A small figure stepped into the light, and I exhaled. It was Emma, my 8-year-old granddaughter, her wide eyes glinting in the dim glow. "Grandpa," she whispered, clutching a stuffed rabbit. "Why are you up here?" I lowered the flashlight, my heart softening. "Just keeping out of the way. Sweetheart, what are you doing up here? Shouldn't you be in bed?" She shuffled closer, her pajamas wrinkled. "I heard Mom talking about you being in the attic." I didn't like it. It's not fair. Her voice was small but fierce. And for a moment, I saw Margaret in her the same stubborn spark. I patted the stool beside me. Come sit. It's okay. I'm fine up here. She climbed up, her rabbit tucked under her arm. It's cold, she said, frowning. And it smells funny. Why did Mom make you come up here? I hesitated. How do you explain to a child that her mother saw her grandfather as an inconvenience? She just needed some space for the party, I said, forcing a smile. Grown-up stuff. You know. Emma didn't buy it. She crossed her arms, her brow furrowing. She's always busy. She doesn't even talk to me and Liam anymore. Not like you do. Her words hit harder than I expected. I'd noticed it too, Clara's preoccupation, her distance from her own children. I wanted to tell Emma it would get better, but I wasn't sure it would. Instead, I pulled her close, wrapping my arm around her small shoulders. You know I'm always here for you. Right. You and Liam. No matter what. She nodded, leaning into me. For a moment, we sat in silence, the party's noise a distant hum. Then she looked up, her eyes curious. Grandpa, do you have any secrets? I froze, my hand instinctively brushing the pocket with the ticket. Secrets? I chuckled, trying to keep my voice light. What makes you think that? You've got that look, she said, squinting, like you're hiding something big. I laughed, but it felt hollow. She was too perceptive for her own good. Maybe I do, I said, winking. But if I told you, it wouldn't be a secret anymore, would it? She giggled, and for the first time that night, the attic didn't feel so cold. But her question lingered. The ticket was my secret, my leverage, my chance to change things. I just didn't know how or when. As Emma nestled against me, I heard footsteps on the stairs. Clara's voice called out, sharp and annoyed. Emma, are you up there? You're supposed to be in bed. Emma sighed, sliding off the stool. Don't tell Mom I was here, she whispered, then darted into the shadows just as the attic door swung open. Clara's silhouette filled the doorway. Dad, was Emma up here? I shook my head, my face neutral. Haven't seen her. Just me and the dust. She sighed, clearly exasperated. Fine. Just keep it down. Okay. The guests are still here. The door closed, and I was alone again. But Emma's visit had sparked something in me, a reminder of what mattered. Clara might have forgotten me, but Emma hadn't. And maybe, just maybe, the ticket could be a way to reach them both. The attic seemed to shrink with each passing hour, the walls pressing in as the sounds of the party below grew louder, more raucous. I sat on the stool, Emma's visit still lingering in my mind like a warm ember. Her words, her fierce, quiet loyalty had stirred something in me, a resolve I hadn't felt in years. But Clara's sharp tone, her dismissal, kept pulling me back to the reality of our fractured bond. I reached into my pocket, fingers brushing the lottery ticket. It was more than paper now. It was a question, a challenge. What would I do with it? I stood, pacing the narrow space, my breath visible in the cold air. The attic was a museum of my past boxes of old clothes. A broken lamp Margaret had loved. A stack of Clara's childhood drawings. I paused at one. A crayon sketch of our family, me, Margaret, and Clara, holding hands under a lopsided sun. She'd been 6 when she drew it, her laughter as bright as the colors on the page. I traced the lines, my throat tight. Where had that Clara gone? The party's noise swelled a burst of laughter. Someone shouting a toast. I imagined Clara down there, radiant and untouchable, while I was up here, hidden like a shameful secret. The ticket felt heavier in my pocket, its possibilities both thrilling and daunting. I could walk downstairs right now, hold it up, and watch their faces change. Richard's smug grin would falter. Clara's carefully curated composure would crack. But would it bring us closer? Or drive us further apart? I sat back down, my mind racing. I'd always been a practical man, worked as a carpenter for 40 years. Built this house with my own hands. Money had never been the goal. It was about providing. About love. But now, with $50 million in my grasp, I felt lost. Margaret would have known what to do. She'd have seen the heart of it. The way to use it for good. I closed my eyes, picturing her face, her gentle smile, her steady voice. Do what's right, Tom, she'd say. Not what's easy. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. The attic door creaked open, and Liam, my 10-year-old grandson, poked his head in. Grandpa, he whispered, his voice barely audible over the party's din. Liam, what are you doing up here? I asked, surprised. Like Emma. He wasn't supposed to be here. He stepped inside, his sneakers scuffing the dusty floor. Emma told me you were up here. I didn't think it was right. He looked around, his face scrunching up. This place is creepy. Why'd Mom make you stay here? I sighed, patting the stool beside me. It's just for tonight. Kiddo, your mom's got a lot of guests. He sat, his shoulders hunched. She's always got guests. Or work. Or something. His voice was quiet, tinged with a sadness that made my chest ache. I studied him, his messy hair, his serious eyes. Liam was quieter than Emma, more thoughtful, but he carried the same hurt. Clara's distance wasn't just hurting me. It was hurting them too. You okay, Liam? I asked, my voice soft. He shrugged, picking at a loose thread on his sleeve. I dunno. Mom's always busy. Dad's always on his phone. Sometimes I think they forget about us. His words were a knife to my heart. I wanted to tell him it wasn't true, that Clara loved them, but I couldn't lie. Instead, I put my arm around him. I don't forget about you. Never will. He leaned into me, just like Emma had. And for a moment, the attic didn't feel so cold. Then he looked up, his eyes curious. Grandpa, do you ever wish you could change things? Like, make everything better? I froze, the ticket burning in my pocket. Sometimes, I said carefully. But changing things, it's not always easy. You gotta know what you're fighting for. He nodded, like he understood more than a 10-year-old should. I wish Mom would talk to us like you do. Like she used to. Before I could respond, the attic door flew open. Clara stood there, her face flushed from wine or anger or both. Liam, what are you doing up here? I told you to stay in your room. Liam flinched, but I squeezed his shoulder. He was just keeping me company. I said, my voice steady. No harm done. Clara's eyes narrowed. Dad, this isn't helping. You're supposed to stay out of the way. And Liam, bed. Now. Liam slid off the stool, his head down, and shuffled past her. The door slammed shut, and I was alone again. But their visit sent a spark. Liam's quiet pain had lit a fire in me. Clara might see me as a burden, but I was still their grandfather. I was still her father. And I had the ticket. I pulled it out, staring at the numbers. $50 million could buy a lot new houses, fancy cars, the life Clara chased. But could it buy back her heart? Could it bring back the family we'd been? I didn't know. But I was starting to realize that staying silent, staying hidden, wasn't the answer. The party's noise faded as I made a decision. I wouldn't tell Clara about the ticket, not yet. But I wouldn't stay in this attic either. Tomorrow was Christmas. Tomorrow, I'd start to rewrite this story. Christmas morning dawned cold and quiet. The snow outside the attic window piling high, muffling the world. I hadn't slept much. My mind too tangled with thoughts of Clara, Emma, Liam, and the lottery ticket still tucked in my pocket. The attic was no warmer than it had been last night, but the fire in my chest burned hotter. I was done being invisible. Today, I'd take the first step, though I still wasn't sure where it would lead. I stood, my joints stiff but my resolve firm, and made my way to the attic door. The house was silent now, the party long over, the guests gone. I crept downstairs, careful not to wake anyone. The living room was a mess: empty wine glasses, crumpled napkins, a Christmas tree glittering coldly in the corner. It felt like a stage set, not a home. I moved to the kitchen, where the faint smell of coffee lingered, and started a pot. If I was going to face Clara today, I'd need something to steady my nerves. As the coffee brewed, I sat at the kitchen table, the ticket in my hand. I thought about what Liam had said, wishing things could be better. I thought about Emma's fierce loyalty, sneaking up to see me. They deserved more than a mother who pushed them away, a father who barely looked up from his phone. And me, I deserved more than an attic. The sound of footsteps broke my thoughts. Clara appeared in the doorway, her hair disheveled, her eyes tired. She froze when she saw me. "Dad, what are you doing down here?" I met her gaze, steady and unflinching. "It's Christmas, Clara. I didn't think I'd spend it in the attic." Her face tightened, a mix of guilt and irritation. "I told you, we needed the space last night. It wasn't personal, wasn't it?" I asked, my voice quiet but firm. "You didn't just need space, Clara. You wanted me out of sight." She opened her mouth, then closed it, her hands fidgeting. "Dad, you don't understand. Richard's colleagues were here. Important people. I couldn't have." She trailed off, but the unspoken words hung heavy. "I couldn't have you embarrassing me." I leaned back, the ticket burning in my pocket. I wanted to pull it out, to throw it in her face and watch her world shift. But something stopped me, Margaret's voice in my head, urging patience. "Clara," I said, "when did I become something to hide?" She looked away, her jaw tight. "You're twisting this. I'm just trying to keep everything together. Work, the kids, this house. You don't know how hard it is. I raised you alone after your mother died," I said, my voice low. "I worked 2 jobs, fixed this house, made sure you had everything. I know hard, Clara, but I never pushed you away." Her eyes flickered with something guilt, maybe, or shame, but it was gone as quickly as it came. "That was different," she said, crossing her arms. "Things are different now." Before I could respond, Emma and Liam burst into the kitchen, their faces lit with Christmas morning excitement. "Grandpa," Emma squealed, throwing her arms around me. Liam grinned, holding a small, clumsily wrapped gift. "We made this for you." I took the gift, my heart swelling. It was a photo frame, decorated with glitter and shells, holding a picture of the 3 of us from last summer, laughing at the park. "It's perfect," I said, my voice thick. "Thank you." Clara watched, her expression unreadable. "Kids, go get ready," she said. "We're opening presents soon." They scampered off, and I turned to her. "They're good kids, Clara. They deserve better than being ignored." Her face hardened. "Don't lecture me, Dad. I'm doing my best." "Are you?" I asked, standing. "Because it looks like you're running from them." "From me?" She didn't answer, just turned and left the kitchen. I sat back down, the ticket heavy in my pocket. I could feel the moment coming, the moment I'd reveal it. But not yet. I needed to understand what I wanted from it, what it could fix. The rest of the morning passed in a blur of presents and forced smiles. Clara played the perfect mother, but I saw the strain in her eyes, the way she avoided looking at me. Richard was worse, barely acknowledging me, his focus on his phone or the kids' new toys. Emma and Liam, though, stayed close, their laughter a lifeline. By afternoon, I knew I couldn't stay silent much longer. I slipped back to the attic, needing space to think. I pulled out Margaret's keepsake box again, searching for clarity. Inside, I found a letter I'd never seen before, written in her neat, looping handwriting. It was addressed to me, dated a week before she died. Tom, my love, it began. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and you're probably lost. But you're stronger than you know. Clara's heart is still there, even if it's buried. Don't give up on her. Use what you have, your love, your stubbornness. Whatever it takes to bring her back. You're not alone. Tears blurred my vision. Margaret had known, even then, that Clara might drift. I clutched the letter, the ticket in my other hand. I didn't have all the answers, but I had a purpose. The ticket wasn't just money, it was a tool. A way to reach Clara, to remind her of who we were. I stood, tucking the letter and ticket into my pocket. Tonight, I'd confront her, not with anger, but with truth. And maybe, just maybe, we'd find our way back. The afternoon light filtered through the attic window, weak and gray, as I sat with Margaret's letter in one hand and the lottery ticket in the other. Her words burned in my mind. Don't give up on her. I wanted to believe Clara's heart was still there, buried beneath years of ambition and distance. But doubt gnawed at me. The ticket felt like a loaded gun, powerful, dangerous, capable of changing everything or destroying what little we had left. I wasn't sure which it would be, but I knew I couldn't stay in this attic any longer, hiding from my own daughter. I made my way downstairs, the house quieter now as the Christmas frenzy settled. Clara was in the living room, tidying up wrapping paper, her movements sharp and mechanical. Richard was nowhere to be seen, probably on a call. As usual, Emma and Liam were playing with their new toys in the corner, their laughter a stark contrast to the tension between us. I took a deep breath, the ticket and letter in my pocket like anchors. Clara, I said, my voice steady but soft. We need to talk. She didn't look up, just kept folding a piece of wrapping paper. Can it wait? Dad, I'm busy. No, I said, firmer this time. It can't. She froze, her hand stilling, and finally met my eyes. There was something there, guilt, maybe, or exhaustion, but she quickly masked it with a sigh. Fine. What is it? I stepped closer, my heart pounding. I've been thinking about us, about this family, about how we got here. She crossed her arms, her face guarded. What's that supposed to mean? It means I raised you to be better than this, I said, my voice low but unwavering. To care about people, not just things. To see your kids, your family, not just your job or your guests. And to see me. Her eyes flashed, a mix of anger and defensiveness. You think I don't care? You think I'm not trying? I'm holding this family together. Dad, you have no idea what I'm dealing with. Then tell me, I said, stepping closer. Talk to me, Clara, like we used to. Don't push me into attics or brush me off like I'm nothing. She flinched, but her voice stayed sharp. You're not nothing, Dad, but you don't fit into this world. Richard's colleagues. My career, it's complicated. I can't just. She trailed off, her hands clenching. You can't just what? I pressed. Love your own father. Your own kids. Clara, Emma and Liam are hurting. They told me. They feel like you're slipping away. Just like I do. Her face crumpled for a moment. But she quickly straightened. Her voice cold. Don't bring them into this. I'm doing what's best for them. For all of us. Are you? I asked, my hand brushing the ticket in my pocket. I wanted to tell her. To shake her world with the truth. But Margaret's words held me back. Use what you have. Not to hurt her, but to reach her. Before I could decide, Richard walked in, his phone still in hand. What's going on? He asked. His tone clipped. Clara turned to him, her voice tight. Nothing. Just family stuff. Richard's eyes flicked to me. Dismissive. Tom, maybe you should head back upstairs. We've got things under control down here. That was the final straw. I pulled the ticket from my pocket, holding it up so they both could see. No. Richard. I'm not going anywhere. And you might want to listen to this. Clara's brow furrowed. What's that? I took a deep breath. My heart racing. It's a lottery ticket. I won. $50 million. The room went silent. Clara's eyes widened, her mouth opening slightly. Richard's phone slipped from his hand, clattering to the floor. Even Emma and Liam looked up, sensing the shift in the air. You're joking, Clara said, her voice barely above a whisper. I'm not, I said, holding her gaze. I've known for 3 months. I didn't tell you because I wasn't sure what to do with it. But I'm sure now. Richard recovered first, his eyes gleaming. 50 million. Tom, that's incredible. We could. No. I cut him off, my voice like steel. This isn't about you, Richard, or your deals, or your colleagues. This is about family. I turned to Clara, softening my tone. Clara, I don't want this money to change who we are. I want it to remind us who we were. Your mother believed in you. In us. She left me a letter. Told me not to give up on you. I'm not going to. But you need to meet me halfway. Clara's eyes filled with tears. But she didn't speak. Richard started to say something. But I held up a hand. I'm not done. This money can do a lot. Help Emma and Liam. Help people who need it. But it's not a fix for everything. You've got to choose what matters. Clara. Your kids. Me. Us. She looked away, tears spilling down her cheeks. Emma and Liam crept closer, their eyes wide. Grandpa, is that real? Liam asked, pointing at the ticket. I nodded, ruffling his hair. It's real, kiddo. But what we do with it's what matters. Clara wiped her eyes, her voice trembling. Dad, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything yet, I said. Just think about it. I'm not going anywhere. The room fell quiet again, the weight of the moment settling over us. I didn't know if I'd reached her, but I'd planted a seed. And for the first time in years, I felt like I had a voice again. The silence in the living room stretched, heavy with the weight of my words and the lottery ticket still clutched in my hand. Clara stood frozen, tears streaking her face, while Richard's expression flickered between shock and calculation. Emma and Liam clung to my sides, their small hands gripping mine, their eyes wide with a mix of awe and confusion. The Christmas tree's lights blinked in the corner, casting a soft glow over the scene. But the warmth I'd hoped for this Christmas still felt out of reach. I tucked the ticket back into my pocket, my heart pounding but steady. Clara, I said, my voice soft but firm. This isn't about the money. It's about us. About what we've lost. I don't want to lose you too. She looked at me, her eyes searching mine. And for the first time in years, I saw a glimmer of the girl she'd been vulnerable. uncertain, but still there. Dad, she whispered, her voice breaking. I didn't mean to push you away. I got caught up. In work. In this life. I thought I was doing what was best. Best for who? I asked. Not accusingly, but honestly. For you. For Richard. Because it's not best for Emma and Liam. Or for me. She flinched, her gaze dropping to the floor. Richard stepped forward, his voice smooth but strained. Tom, let's not get carried away. This is a lot to process. Maybe we should all sit down. Talk about what this money could mean. No, I said, cutting him off again. This isn't your decision. Richard, it's mine. And Clara's, if she wants to be part of it. He bristled, but I ignored him, focusing on Clara. Your mother believed in you, I said, pulling Margaret's letter from my pocket. She wrote this before she died. Told me to keep fighting for you. I've been trying, Clara, but I can't do it alone. She took the letter, her hands trembling as she read the familiar handwriting. Tears spilled anew, and she pressed a hand to her mouth. I miss her, she whispered. I miss who we were. So do I said, my voice thick. But we can't go back. We can only go forward. Together. If you'll let us. Emma tugged at my sleeve. Grandpa, are you rich now? I chuckled, the tension breaking for a moment. Something like that. Sweetheart. But being rich doesn't mean much if you're alone. Liam looked up, his serious eyes fixed on his mother. Mom, are you going to make Grandpa stay in the attic again? Clara's face crumpled, and she knelt in front of him, pulling him into a hug. No, Liam. Never again. She looked at Emma, then at me, her voice shaking. I'm sorry, Dad. I lost sight of what matters. I don't know how to fix it, but I want to try. I nodded, my throat tight. That's all I'm asking. Richard shifted uncomfortably, clearly out of his depth. Clara, maybe we should. Not now. Richard, she said, her voice firm for the first time. She stood, wiping her eyes, and looked at me. What do you want to do with the money? Dad, it's yours. I took a deep breath, the weight of the question settling over me. I'd thought about it for months. But now, with my family watching, the answer felt clearer. Some of it's for Emma and Liam. I said, college funds. Maybe a trip somewhere fun. Some of it's for people who needed charities. Shelters. Folks like I used to be. Scraping by. And some of it, I want to use it to bring us back together. Family dinners. Time with you and the kids. Maybe a house where we can all fit. No attics required. Clara smiled. A real smile. The kind I hadn't seen in years. I'd like that. Emma clapped her hands. Can we go to Disneyland? I laughed, ruffling her hair. We'll see, kiddo. The rest of the day passed in a haze of tentative hope. Clara and I talked for the first time in years. She told me about the pressure of her job, the way Richard's ambition had pulled her along, the guilt she carried for neglecting the kids. I listened, not judging, just letting her words fill the space between us. Richard stayed quiet, his plans for the money clearly derailed. But I didn't care. This wasn't about him. By evening, we sat around the Christmas tree, the kids opening a few late gifts, Clara's hand resting on mine. It wasn't perfect. There were years of hurt to unpack, trust to rebuild, but it was a start. The ticket had been my leverage, my way to break through Clara's walls. But it was Margaret's letter, her love, that had guided me. As the kids laughed and Clara smiled, I felt Margaret's presence, warm and steady. I'd done what she'd asked. I'd fought for our daughter. And now, With the ticket in my pocket and my family around me, I knew we'd find our way. Not because of the money, but because of us.